These are the realities of many millennials growing up. I'm talking about the experience of many millennials and not just a few exceptions. Millennials are born to the baby boomers and the Gen X's. Many millennials, this is the snippet of the household that they grew up in that I'm going to give you, where the father was either absent, emotionally unavailable, or was abusive. And this father was born from a father who was right in the apartheid, where he was either in exile or was working far from home or imprisoned. This was the reality of the household. And the father figure as the most critical role to a child, especially in their young years, that gives protection and also the provider. Now, if this father figure was absent in this young man's life, or he saw him drinking heavily just to numb the pain, because he is also carrying his own trauma of being beaten up or watching people being killed. And he has no filter or a place where he can deal with these traumatic emotions and experiences he's having. And therefore, the household is where this will be experienced. The mother who cannot speak up for herself, and especially in those days, women were marrying young, and women were told that whatever happens in their home, it's a secret. They shouldn't go around telling their business. And therefore, she's experiencing this abuse, this a violent experience in her household that she cannot share with anyone. And mind you, education was not there. So women were not working during those times, and they were not educated. They were stay-at-home moms taking care of the household. She has nowhere else to go. She does not know how to fend for herself, because even the justice system was not in her favor. So now when these parents and grandparents of this millennial are experiencing all of this trauma, that is this indoctrination that is passed now through generations and even becomes the culture, the norm, where questions are not asked. This is how we do things. And now this millennial is between now experiencing this abuse or emotionally lack of presence from her father, who is supposed to be the one who is demonstrating the love, the affection, the protectiveness, and also the provision. She now, when she goes into the dating scene, she is looking to fill that void that was not filled by the father. She's taking it now into the dating scene, looking for a man, just a replica of her father, re-traumatizing herself. And now when she is now in between these two, has been rejected and abandoned at home, and now also in her love, whether it's a marriage or in a relationship, she's also experiencing the same, and she's giving of herself now because she does not want to be seen as a failure. See, she's people pleasing now. She will stay in this marriage for as long as it takes for her not to be seen as a failure. And because there was no way she could express her emotions, her voice is silent. Her voice is silent. Imagine now when she has to be having an intimate relationship with God, when the men in her life were mistreating her. Of course, that is going to be another dynamic. It's not going to flow because the demonstration of her father was not there. And now to God, for her to accept God as a father, where we know that we get life from, the source of life, she's going to miss that, which therefore now is going to fall through in her life. Her life is going to be a life of void, a life of unacceptance, a life where she's not chosen, a life where she doesn't belong. This is going to be a story of her life. And millennials are the ones who are looking after their parents, younger siblings, and also taking care of their own children. So there is this pinch on them. There is this between the rock and the hard place for millennials in our days, where a heavy weight is on their shoulders. They are carrying this burden that no one seems to be talking about. No one seems to be noticing. They are looking after their parents, their younger siblings, and their children, barely making ends meet, barely. And they are going to continue to carry this through now to their children, who seem to be progressing far. Because now we see that the Gen Zs, they are quite progressive in terms of wealth creation and also creating healthy lifestyle and healthy marriages. Because when millennials were growing up, yes, they were growing up during apartheid and also in the years now where democracy was starting to roll. But it had not yet settled. That was the benefit for the Gen Z. Laws were still being reviewed by the time they were growing up. And in those days, millennials did not have the leisure of going on dates, talking to guys, getting to know the guy, because they were staying at home with their parents, and the guy was not allowed to come into the home. They could not spend time with the guy and just to get to know the guy. So the first guy a person sees and she feels attracted, just physical attraction, not even connection beyond in terms of intellect, and just getting to know the person's values and their views in life. So the dating was just based on attraction. Date the first guy that you feel attracted to without even getting to know what they think, how they think. That is the setup they grew up in. Hence, marriages, the first marriages of many millennials are not successful because she's broken, he's broken, they come together, they cause just toxic and chaos. So that is the reality of millennials growing up. And then now it seems like their children are going to also have to take care of them because they are highly in debt. They can barely afford to buy a house and a car. They have credit cards, personal loans, consolidation loans, all types of credit, of bad debt that is under their name. Barely making it. So it is my mission's life, through a vision that God has given me, to make sure that that gap is bridged, where millennials can also rise to the surface and start creating wealth for themselves and the generations that comes after, and also even their grandchildren. That is my missions life. Through my company, a network marketing company, Obumna Networks, where I coach women to become who they were created to be. Who they were created to be. And together, as these women born in the millennials, we come together and we start creating wealth. We start thriving in life, because now, if we're telling our children, they can see us praying and fasting, giving our lives to Jesus, and yet we are barely paying school fees. We are barely, every time they ask for something, we always say no. We probably are called the no parents. They're no parents because we're always saying no to everything. And how are they supposed to also fall in love with this Jesus who is keeping us in poverty? Until next time then, goodbye.